first Sunday program with a class on, of course, our subject is starting and growing a successful business. So let's begin with a dua. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Ar-Rahman Ar-Rahim. Maliki Yawm Al-Din. إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. I want to thank for you all coming and attending this first Sunday program, this class. It's a continuation of our class on starting and growing a successful business. We started first Sunday, and we said we would begin with several areas, and this particular one is dealing with a business structure. So if you're thinking about starting a business, after you've made a decision on what kind of product you're going to sell or what kind of service you're going to offer, the next thing you need to do is think about how you're going to structure your business, how you're going to structure it. And there's three areas. So, as I mentioned before, it can be either by a sole proprietor, a partnership, or a corporation. Those are the three business structures, all right? And we're going to begin talking about a sole proprietorship. A sole proprietorship. What is a sole proprietorship? A sole proprietorship is a business owned and run by one individual. All right? There is no distinction between the owner and the business. What that means is the owner doesn't really have any private interests. If it's a sole proprietor, private interest, business, all come together. Because that business exists only because that sole proprietor, that individual exists. Once the individual passes away, the business is gone. All right? That's the key of the sole proprietorship. All right? So, the owner receives all the profits. And the sole proprietor don't have to share the profits with no one. The owner receives all the profits. But now on the other end, the owner also has unlimited responsibility for losses and debts. Can't pass them on to anyone else. They all are rest with the owner. That's when you have a sole proprietor. So now, a sole proprietor may use a trade name in their business, such as Manny's Pizza or the Soul Food Place. That can be a trade name. But in most U.S. cities or states, they require you to file a statement known as doing business as. Because what they want to do is make sure that they can trace back to who the owner of that business is, right? Do we have an example of that here? Yes, we do. You know what the example I'm going to use? The Mosque. The ministry of Imam W.D. Mohammed, doing business as the Mosque. That's the way that's structured, okay? So the Mosque is actually the trade name. The ministry of Imam W.D. Mohammed is the owner of the Mosque doing the business. So that's an example, all right? And you know, you'll see them in the paper all the time. You'll see trade names, and all you have to do is you trace back, you'll find out who the actual owner of the business is, all right? All right. So, since the business is the same legal entity as the proprietor, again, it ceases to exist upon the proprietor's passing. All right? They can't pass that business on to a relative or whatever because it's a sole proprietorship. All right? It's a sole proprietorship. And when you think about this, when you look at a sole proprietorship, everything is done in the name of that individual. All right? Everything is done in the name of the individual. They do all their business in their name. So if they pass away, even if they pass it on to someone else, the only suppliers, the bank, all of them only know who? That sole proprietor. If you pass it on to a relative or whatever, they don't know them. Okay? So if you build a business as a sole proprietor, remember, You are the business. Once you pass, even if you left it to someone else, they have to establish themselves. Okay? You have established as a sole proprietor. Now, these are some of the things you need to think about if you decide that that's the way you want to go. Do you want to start a business as a sole proprietor? There are some pluses, there are some minuses. Okay? Okay. One of the minuses, there's also difficulty raising long-term capital because the business relies on one person. Long-term capital means what? You can say that out loud. Capital means what? Money. Or property or something like that. But it means something of value, right? Usually, if you're the only one that's known as that business, people take a chance, and they take a limited chance of investing if you're the only person they're investing in. They really want to invest in more than just one person. And if you're a sole proprietor, you have a real challenge trying to raise money, raise capital to run your business. All right. So think about that when you're thinking about how you want to structure your business and if you're thinking about a sole proprietorship. All right. So that's all I want to talk about in terms of a sole proprietor. And I want to stop now to ask, does anybody have any questions about just what we spoke about just now? Because I'm getting ready to change to something else. Sole proprietor. Does anybody have any questions about what I talked about? Yes, ma'am.
With the sole proprietor, if they're sued, they can only just sue that one person, right? Are they liable for suits and stuff?
Well, yes. If they're sued, they sue the sole proprietor, and this is one of the challenges now. Remember I just said, there's no separation from the business and personal. When you're a sole proprietor, if someone sues you, they can attach anything that you own, anything that's in your name. There's no, as they call, there's no firewall between you and your personal assets. As a sole proprietor, all your assets, business or private, all together. So you're right. If they sue and they can attach anything that's in your name. And there's no limit to liability because you're a sole proprietor. Yes, ma'am.
Suppose you leave it to someone, like you said, you mentioned earlier.
Even if you left it to someone. Now, you can pass on your business to someone, all right, but as I said, if you have suppliers, or even the bank, they're used to dealing with you. If you leave it to someone else, they don't know who that other person is that you're leaving it to. You see what I'm saying?
But they're still doing the business as a sole
They can still do the business, but that new person you leave it to has to establish their credibility with the bank. You see what I'm saying? There was no partnership. There was no group. It was just you. All right, and the bank knew you. They don't know your son. They don't know your daughter. They don't know anybody else that you leave that business to. So whoever you leave it to, the bank has taken a chance to say, okay, should we continue the relationship with who you leave it to? And then how long would it take them to build their credibility? All right, and will the business survive while they're building their credibility? You are one who paid your bills on time and did everything else on time, and was fine. They don't know if that's going to be the same thing that's going to go on if you leave it to your son, daughter, niece, nephew. You see what I'm saying? Those are the challenges of starting and running a business as a sole proprietor. All right? So now, there's an advantage. You keep all the profits. And when you make the decision, you ain't got to check with nobody else. Your decision, when you make the decision, is you. You made it. And so that may be a plus. On the other end, though, there are some challenges, okay? So think about that. Now, there's some people who say, I want to run it. I want to make all the decisions. I don't want to check with nobody else. And if that's what you want to do, more power to you. But understand, there's another way you can still do that, but not necessarily be a sole proprietor. Now they got corporations that you can structure in such a way that you can still have the last say or the majority say and not open yourself up to such liability. The biggest problem with a sole proprietor is, as I say, you keep all the profits, but if there's losses, you pay all the losses, and if you're sued, you have to defend against the suits. Okay. Any other questions about a sole proprietor? Okay.